Now it's time to break down this bumper, get these headlights pulled off, baked, and started for the ultimate popular setup that we're known for, which is the 3-zone multicolored setup for RGBW demonized, halos, and DRL, controlled through Bluetooth. You ready? Let's put this on time lapse. Well, those 18 screws that I took off from the bottom of the bumper and front lip, and there was another 6 more on top, so there's a lot of screws. Not done yet. I still got to get behind the wheel wells to access the remaining 12 screws, 6 on each side, to be removed, and then I can finally pull off the bumper. More time lapse. So here we are, we have the Chevy Camaro ZL1 headlights pulled off from the actual vehicle. This is the second hardest part of the process, and it's the most time consuming and most tedious one out of the entire job. We have to be very careful when we open up these headlights. We do bake them open traditionally, like the old school method. We are seeing a lot of new up and coming people trying to do these modifications on these headlights by cutting them open, and we don't recommend doing that. It's not 100% solid proof on some applications, and in this case, especially for a very expensive vehicle like this, you don't want it to be cut open. You want it to look as much as OEM as possible. You can keep it. So we're going to go old school, bake these open, take our time on them, carefully open up the channels and pull out the lens, gut them, reshape them, and then start doing the work right after that. So it takes a couple of hours. Just open up one. Here we go. All right, we have the Chevy Camaro headlights open. It took 3 cycles to get them open completely without having to do any damage. There you are. You can see the channels are a little bit flared, and that's what we needed to do. We had to flare them up in sections and also gut them at the same time so we don't have a difficult time popping the lenses off. But there it is. That's the factory sealant, and that's what it looks like when it's open. And here's the lens, perfectly intact. Now we have some permaseal around the edges. So what we're going to do next is we're going to remove all of the permaseal around the lens. That way when we seal it up, there's nothing in the way obstructing it from closing it tight. And as well, the next thing we're going to move on to is gutting these channels to completely remove it and reshape the channels so they're nice and flat, because right now they're flaring a little. We want these to be nice and flat, and then we'll add the retro rubber inside, and then when we're done with our job of doing the halo, the demon on the DRL, we'll go ahead and apply the retro rubber, throw them in the oven, reseal them, and the job's done. So we have the channels gutted completely, all the permanent seals removed. All that's left now is to reshape the channels. That way we have a good proper seal so we can lay out the retro rubber. So that's the next step. Here we go. Popcorn. So we're going to go ahead and give you an explanation of what demon eyes are. So a lot of people ask, people don't have an understanding of it, so we're going to help you grasp the concept of what it is and how actually it works. A lot of people think that it's a bulb. It's not a bulb. It's actually just an LED chip that's mounted in the middle of the entire projector housing, and this is the LED chip. Check that out. This is a RGBW chip from Dynamics. It has RGBW, which stands for red, green, blue, and white. And this is all controlled through a controller, and we tend to use Bluetooth because we like to have our phones control everything nowadays. But that's essentially it, and let me show you where it goes and how it's mounted. Currently we have the projector prepped and ready. We drilled a hole to mount the demon eye right on top of it. It's going to sit right here in the middle of the projector housing, behind the lens, in front of the HID bulb. Some people tend to actually cut this piece out, put the LED chip in there, and that's a bad idea because it's so close to the heat source that the HID will eventually burn this LED chip out. So we put it right here, right away from it, where the heat actually rises. That way it stays cool and does not die out. There you have it. This is the projector lens. This is the actual projector housing completely. Back over here is the bowl where the HID bulb sits. This is the HID bulb. And right there in the middle is demon eye chip. That's exactly where we mount them, and that's how they work. They're mounted right in the middle, illuminates the entire housing, illuminating the lens in red, green, blue, white, or any other color you can basically customize. So there you go. That's an explanation of what a demon eye actually is and how it looks and how it functions. So unfortunately, you cannot install it from the back. You actually have to split the headlights open, pull the projector out, and get going at it.